reports earlier, which would come out of the franchises, that you weren't very happy with, Mohali as a venue because of not great crowd turnout. If you compared it to some other venues, you would see a great crowd turnout. Mohali on that count wasn't really living up to the billing. Do you think that situation has changed right now? Are you happy with where that stands? Because Punjab Kings was one team that could even look at playing, far away from that state when it came to home matches.
Yeah, I mean, we had Dharamshala earlier as a second venue. We were happy with Dharamshala. We have had issues with Punjab, but I think it's also to do with our performance, the way we market, the way we sell it. So yeah, I mean, there's been lessons for us in that, and we've tried to plug that, give the fans a better experience, make the whole thing a much more wholesome experience, and that's what we've done this year. And next year we move to a new stadium, so that'll be fun as well. But have a great relationship with the PCA and the people of Punjab, and I think it's just time we deliver what we are, destined to, reach the top four and then try and lift the trophy finally this year.
Just going to talk about IPL as a whole. You now have 10 teams, and just a couple of years ago, there was an assurance from the BCCI that this probably will be a 90-plus day league going forward. It hasn't happened in the 2 seasons that you've had, this season and the previous one, when you've had 10 teams. Is that still on the line? What are the team owners? They've had conversations with the BCCI, and that 90-plus days, is that something that you're looking forward to as a team owner?
Yeah, definitely, the more matches, the better. I think, we've always talked about a longer season, or even 2 seasons, but let's start with the current season, trying to make that longer and better. I think it's to do a lot with the cricketing window, which we have in terms of the ICC. But listen, I mean, we've increased the games, and step by step, I think we'll get to, what we've anticipated to get to.
There is a new rule in town. It's called the impact player rule. And believe you me, that's the one word that's been, trending on social media. We follow all of that. I'd want to know your perspective. What have you made of it now that we've seen a few matches played with that particular rule? Do you think it's made it more exciting, or do you think, one criticism about cricket is that it's too complicated and it's made it more complicated? How do you view it? There's been mixed reactions so far.
There'll always be mixed reactions in anything. There'll always be the naysayers and those who believe that, it should be there. Why not is what I say. At the end of the day, I think the BCCI has demonstrated that it's got the best tournament in the world, if not in all sport, in cricket, without doubt. We've always been very innovative, and I think it's high time that we bring in technology, which we have, whether it's for the wide balls, which we have, and no balls this year, and whether it's for the impact player, like you have in football. I mean, look at football. You went from 3 subs to 5 because of COVID. So, I mean, 5 is you can almost substitute your entire team almost. There are only 11 in football. So I think it's good to have 1 sub. I think we should also look at 2 subs going forward. Maybe that'll be something more interesting, because then the dynamics really change. You can have 1 in 1 innings, 1 in another, 2 in 1 innings. And eventually, what do we want to do? We want the IPL to be as competitive as ever, right? I mean, we don't want, it's the more competitive each of the teams are, the better for the league, the more enjoyment to the fans. And I think that's what's been demonstrated in the last 1 week, it's been 9 days of IPL 16.
Yes, it surely has made a few matches very exciting, because you now have 12 players, so it just makes the team very strong, and the dynamics have completely changed. Just another perspective I'd want from you, because this is, this is a discussion. It's an ongoing discussion between the stakeholders of the IPL and stakeholders of Indian cricket, and that has got to do with a lot of injury management, workload management, because we know that IPL franchises and Indian cricket share a few players. You have a few Indian players in your squad as well. Do you think, there is a school of thought that maybe this is a World Cup year, why don't you have that workload management? You rest a few players. We've heard from the BCCI saying they'll speak to franchises, and there are certain players that are part of the Indian setup. If we'll request them to have them sit on the bench, if that will help them play longer for the Indian team. Have you had those conversations? And you as a team owner, are you okay with it? Let's say to rest a player for the Indian team, but that might then dent your strength of your playing 11. How do you view that?
The IPL today, we only play 14 matches, 1-4. So the Indian cricket calendar is, I don't even know how many matches. God knows, must
Yeah.
be. I would hazard a guess, including test matches, one day T20, probably about 120 to 150, if I'm correct,
Hmm. Hmm.
overall in the year. So whatever we do is not going to have much impact. The way I see it, and I think that is how the BCCI is seeing it, is that you've got three formats: the five, the one, and the T20, and you need to have the best team for that. And I think England have proven and demonstrated and shown, and so have other countries such as Australia, how important it is to have a mix and a match, to have different players, because it's now become a specialization. I mean,
Yeah.
take Chiteshwar Pujara. I mean, he's a test specialist. He plays in the test matches. We must try and do that across the board for all formats, and that would not only help us to have a better bench strength for each five, one, and T20 matches, but also allow those who are our lead players to take a rest, and also allow other players to come to the fore. And
Hmm.
it'll only improve the talent and the bench strength.
That's very well summed up. And on that note, Ned, thanks so much for taking
Thank
our
you.
time and speaking to India today. You've been very
Thank
generous
you.
with your time. We were trying to do it for a long time, but I'm so glad it's finally happened.